Right, I've just gone all over and I've done all my bleach into this now. I even did actually come along and felt that I needed to add a little bit more white to my mixture just to make it come out a little bit more, which I've just done. So don't feel like you don't have to kind of like stick with the same mixture you've done from the start. You know, having different mixtures, I mean, really, you know, if you really wanted to, I mean, you could come off and do like 3 different colours of bleaching if you wanted to. Just really kind of like maybe start off with just a lighter version of XF21, and then you could get lighter and then lighter, you know, and just keep doing loads of different sort of coats of bleaching if you wanted to. But one is enough really, but you know, as I say, it doesn't matter, because I mean, the more you mix up the colours, the more you give it different tones and everything, you know, probably the more the weathering's going to look really cool. But there you go. I mean, that's that all done. So what we want to do now is you know, I said I was going to do it off camera, but just to kind of quickly show you now, some nice gloss. Okay, you can pour it in neat, and remember, this is the good old Pledge multi-surface wax, okay, the clear, which is nice and cheap, and it really does save you a lot of money spending on, say, loads and loads of gloss. Okay, and simply a nice sort of a shall we say about 15 psi. Okay, we just want to just give this a nice light coat. Okay, just nice and all over the model. Okay, like so. That was nice and easy. Now, this isn't the final, shall we say, sealing for decaling. This is what I like to do personally before decaling. Okay, I would rather put on a gloss coat, leave it to sit for about an hour, maybe 2, and then come along and do some masking up. Because if I came along and masked this up before I did any gloss work, there's always that chance of you getting a bit of peeling, which can be a right nightmare. And I just find this quick light coat, say about twice, like I'm doing now. I'm putting on a second coat now. Okay, nice and light. Okay, we're not talking a massive thick load of gloss coats all ready for decaling. We're just talking a quick kind of nice couple of coats, and then we can leave that to sit for about, you know, maybe an hour, maybe 2, and then we can just nicely come along and mask this up, ready to put on our camo pattern. Okay, so it's as easy as that. Right, so, you know, got this nice gloss coat on, okay, and plain and simply I've let it dry for about 2 hours now. Okay, so you know, we can crack on. We're just getting some nice simple masking done. Now all we need to do with this, okay, is we get a nice little length. This is a 6mm Tamiya tape, and we've got to get a nice line going down here. Okay, so to get a nice straight line, what you want to do is you want to start from one end, okay, and get it right where you want it to start, like so. But what you don't want to do is slide your finger across and make your line that way, because what's going to happen there is you're not going to get a straight line all the way across. Okay, so what you want to do is start from one end, okay, and then with your other thumb, okay, you want to get it where you want it to end. Okay, so yeah, one thumb gets it where it starts, the other thumb goes to where it ends. Okay, and then you can brush your finger across. Okay, and that way you get a much more nicer, straighter line. And this model is actually really easy to mask up, so this is just a quick, you know, rundown on a bit of masking. Do that side, do it the same the other side, okay, and literally you just do the same right up here where the engine area is, and that is basically it for masking. I mean, the one other thing you could do, we've got these little exhausts here, okay, you could kind of like mask them up, okay, to stop them from scratching when you've got it on its belly like that. Plus you might get a slight bit of you probably won't actually, you'll be alright, but you know, just to protect them. So that is really it for the masking, and then I'll get this masked up and then we can look at getting a nice camo pattern on top. So all nicely masked up, okay, just so as we can nicely keep our, what is it, our XF21 Sky all nicely kept from overspray, and we sealed that in with a gloss coat so that the masking tape doesn't do any peeling. Right, so the camo pattern, well, the first off, we have got quite a few colours to kind of choose from. I did a nice bit of quick research to find out what it is we can actually use. Now, Extra Acrylics does a nice little set, okay. You've got the REF dark green and the REF dark earth, which the dark green is XA1001 and the dark earth is XA1002. Apparently you can use these. They do look like our brown and green colour, okay, but Vallejo also does a US dark green, which is basically the dark green. Apparently you can use this. Not sure it's the best kind of match, to be honest. And then what we've got is some Tamiya stuff, okay, which what we've got here is XF52, which is flat earth, which would be our dark earth colour, and that does look like a good match actually. And then they also say to use XF61 dark green, which also looks like a good match, okay. Now these Tamiya and Extra Acrylic colours I've just mentioned, they do look like a good match, okay. However, I think the Mr. Colour range, the Gunzo range, they also do actually a pretty spot on match, but I don't actually have them colours, okay. So for this, I'm kind of thinking, you know what, I've used Tamiya underneath, let's just stick with Tamiya, okay. So I'm going to go for this build, the XF52 and the XF61. Now, we can debate loads and loads and loads on colours, but at the end of the day, okay, it's up to you. It depends what kind of modeler you are. You could be one of these modelers who really wants to get that perfect colour, okay, so, you know, put in those hours of research and find out the exact colour. Or you could plain and simply just be someone who just likes using Tamiya, or you just like using Extra Acrylic, so, you know, you're going to go with whatever the manufacturer you like using, or whatever's on your shelf. In this case, I'm just going with these colours just because I've used Tamiya underneath. Because at the end of the day, I mean, you know, everyone can harp on about the exact colour, but when you come along and do stuff like bleaching, pre-shading, post-shading, you know, you put a gloss coat on it, you put a matte coat on it, you know, it changes the tones of the colours when you do all this kind of sort of all these different things on top of the original colour anyway, so it just changes all that kind of stuff. You know, so it probably never really looks like the exact same colour when you do all that weathering, spraying and everything. So I won't worry too much about the colours, okay. You know, we've got a pretty nice good close match, and that should hopefully give us a good looking Spitfire, okay, but it's all up to you at the end of the day. So I'm going to get ready for some spraying. Right, we're going to get cracking on now with our XF52 Flat Earth by Tamiya. Okay, so starting off, right, we've got some of our Tamiya X28 thinners, okay, a nice 50-50 mix, okay, we've got half that colour cup sorted, quick bit of a shake, okay, and we can try and open this, there we go, and we can simply pour in our brown into our colour cup. Okay, nice 50-50 mix about, okay, you know, it doesn't have to be an exact science. Okay, as long as you're happy with how it sprays out, you know, however you kind of mix it up, 50-50-ish, you know, as long as you're happy with it, that's good. I'm just looking for my paintbrush actually to mix this up. And I think I've misplaced. Oh no, there it is, Old Faithful. Right then, give this a bit of a mix with a paintbrush, okay, so it's all nicely mixed up, like so. Okay, and let's get some of this stuff out of the way. Right then, and what we're going to do is we're just going to nicely check, see how we're flowing, which we don't seem to be flowing that well actually. I'm just going to take the end of the cap off here. It seems to be a bit more, seems to be spraying as if the paint's a bit on the thick side, okay, so maybe we haven't mixed that up quite so well, or it does feel like it just needs a bit more thinners actually. Give it another good mix. Okay. Maybe a little bit more PSI. I'm just knocking it up to about the 25 PSI mark. Okay. So what we're going to do here is, as you've probably noticed, we've got no pre-shading, okay? When it comes to camo, I personally don't like to pre-shade. Okay, so I'm just going to come along, get that misty first coat on. Okay, all over the model, okay, where we're supposed to have our camo pattern, I'm spraying it nice and misty, all over, nice and quick. Okay, no real messing about. Okay, now when you come to these leading edges, okay, you want to be careful, okay, because you don't want to be overspraying underneath. Okay, what you want to do is you want to get it at an angle, okay, something like maybe a not exactly a 90-degree angle, but like a 45-degree angle, okay, and just spray across your leading edges, okay. And what should hopefully happen is, if you hold that angle that you're spraying at, okay, it should actually make a nice, pretty good solid line for you. Okay. That's what hopefully should happen. Well, that's what should happen, okay. You should get a nice, pretty sharp actual line, okay, which is quite good because it saves you masking up all around your wings edges. Okay, and that's had a nice misty coat, so we're coming in, we're putting on a bit more of a proper coat now. Okay, and getting that first stage of brown down. Okay, and that is basically it. Okay, we've whacked down our first coat of brown. Now I've already shown you bleaching, okay, and the bleaching is going to be just the same. Okay, we're going to come along and use XF2 and put a couple of drops in here, add the extra thinners, and we're going to do the bleaching. Okay, so I'm going to get through up to that stage where all that it's all got a good coat of this XF52 on, and I've bleached it, and then we'll get on to the, and I'll show you the next bit. Okay, right, so you know, we've got a nice coat on, okay, of our XF52 Flat Earth by Tamiya, and we've put a bit of XF2 white, a couple of drops in there, really thinned down the paint, and we've made a little kind of a bleaching effect of kind of like it being in the sun, and the paintwork kind of just wearing away a little bit, you know, giving us that kind of effect, and giving us that effect of, you know, dirt building up in all the panel lines and stuff. Okay, and it may look a bit strange at the moment, you know, it's not looking like a Spitfire in a way because it's just all brown, but what we also need to do now is, because we didn't do pre-shading, okay, if I don't do pre-shading, I like to definitely do post shading. Okay, so we've got left over in our cup, okay, still some of this mixture of XF2 and XF52 in our cup, nicely thinned down. Okay, so what we can do is we can come along and get our XF1 out, okay, which is a little tricky to open and hold an airbrush. Okay, so we give that a good shake. Okay, and again we're going to come along with a cocktail stick and we're just going to drop in some drops of XF1, okay, which actually is looking a bit empty. Okay, couple little drops. Now with the black you don't have to add as many drops as you would with the white, okay, because to get a colour darker and blacker doesn't take much black to get it that far. Okay, so hopefully, as you can see, that has now gone quite a nice sort of dark colour, but I think we could go a little bit more. Okay, maybe another 2 drops. Okay, and we'll see how that goes. Actually, I think maybe we could go a little bit more. Let's get the paintbrush out. Let's get a bit of a dollop of black, although not too much. Okay, and we're just kind of playing around with it and just trying to get it mixed to basically a nice darker version, okay, of what we've actually originally got, the original colour of XF52. We want a nice darker version of that, okay, which is taking a bit of time to get there, so I'm just going to get this black in here now. Okay, that looks like a nicer, darker version now. Okay, and what we've got to do, we've got to make sure that this is nice and thin, okay, because we don't want this nice dark, real dark kind of what we're going to represent as like a bit of grime and stuff. We don't want this to be going on as a full-on coat, okay. We want this to go on really transparent, okay, so where we spray it, okay, because we've got it so thin, not much paint goes down and it makes it really transparent, okay, so it's like a light touch, okay, to where we want it. Alright, so we get our lid back on. Okay, that's looking quite nice and dark. Spray it through, okay, so we make sure we get our colour spray through. Actually, I think I might have gone a bit too dark. Okay, but we'll see how transparent we are first. Okay, and that's not bad actually. Right, now you need to be careful when doing pre-shading, okay. You need to get that biting point, okay. That's the kind of the key, is to get that biting point where the paint just starts to come out, and then the next key is to not stick around in the same place, because you don't want to be doing spidering, okay. Because the paint's quite thin and our air pressure is kind of still quite high, we've got a chance of spidering coming on. So you need to just get that biting point and then move along real quick. Okay, no messing around, no sticking around too long, just get it, as soon as it comes out, just move along. Okay, and we don't want to worry too much about having a nice even square, all perfect kind of, let's go on all the panel lines perfectly exactly the same, okay. Keep it random. Have it in places where, you know, you've hardly had any paint come out, okay. Some places have it hardly as if paint's come out, right, and in some places have it as though some areas have got really dirty and grimy, okay. So it's very random, which random means weathering, okay. So I'm just going to do this wing real nice and quick. okay. And one thing that you might want to look at is like our flaps here, you know, give them a little extra coat. Okay, because we want to bring them out, because that's where, you know, you've got moving parts. Moving parts probably means grease. Grease means like pretty nice, nasty and dirty. And what you can do is, we've got our machine guns here, so you might want to do some flicks. Okay, some nice little flicks just to get them started. Okay, there's a bit more to it, and we'll, you know, do some black post shading here, you know, but just to get it started, using this colour just to get that going is quite good as well. And what we have here now is, hopefully you can see, is a pretty kind of dirty, grimy wing now. Let's bring you in a little bit closer. Okay, as you can probably see, you know, we've got a nice bit of a dirty wing going on. Excuse me, I just had a fry up. Okay, so what we've got here, as you can probably tell, okay, there's points on our recessed panel lines. Okay, let's put this airbrush down so I can talk you through a little bit. Okay, so basically you've got there's areas like up here where, you know, the post shading, you know, has been a bit stronger. I've made it a little bit stronger to make that area look a little bit dirtier. But then, you know, we've got a panel line going down here which looks like it's hardly got any post shading on it at all. Okay, and it looks like we've got a bit more going on there than we have, say, here and say about here. Flaps here, you know, that's got like a nice bit of post shading, and that's the whole point. Keep it random. Okay, make it heavier in places, make it lighter in places, make it almost non-existent in places, just make it medium in places. Okay, it's all about keeping it random. Okay, and I mean, okay, you've got to have a level of neatness, but you know, you don't want to have a perfect straight line going all the way down this panel line, really. Okay, you know, dirt is not uniform. Okay, you know, it is very kind of random and messy and dirty, you know, and that's basically weathering. And the other thing is, I mean, you might think this is also a bit over the top. Okay, you're probably seeing the bleaching, the bits of kind of white inside the panel lines, and you might be thinking that's a bit too in your face. You might be thinking this post shading is a little bit too in your face. Okay, but I always like to come along and get your post shading, get your bleaching that little bit more in your face than normal. I like to do that because when we come along and put a gloss coat on, it's going to darken up all of this paint work. Okay, and it's going to start blending the colours together. Okay, and when you come along and do another gloss coat after decaling, it's going to darken up, it's going to blend the colours. You come along and put a matte coat on and it lightens back down again, but it also blends in the colours even more. Okay, and that's what this is all about, is the colours blending together, which then kind of makes this over exaggerated weathering turn into the weathering that you want. It'll dull it down, it'll blend it down a bit and get it just right. Okay, so kind of always think, just exaggerate that little bit more than what you want it to get it the way you want it at the end. Okay, so that's that, and I'm going to now set up for the next stage. Okay, because actually the battery on my camera is about to go, so I'm going to set up for the next stage. Right, as you can see, we've gone all nicely all round, nice random weathering, little bit exaggerated. Okay, but where's the green camo pattern? Well, before we get to that, okay, what I like to do, okay, because there is a lot of ways in which you can do a camo pattern. Okay, so you know, this is the way I like it. I mean, in other videos I might try and show you other ways you can do it. I might not like it that way, but kind of show you other ways. Okay, and the one thing I like to do is, we've got all this nice and weathered up, okay, and I'm coming along and I've just put some gloss, some clear, pledge clear in my air cup. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to seal this in with a nice little coat of clear pledge. Okay, just all nicely over where all our brown is, what we've just done. Okay, nice little light coat first, nice misty coat first, and then you can build up some proper coats after you got that first misty coat. Okay, you can't go wrong with getting a first misty coat with any kind of spraying just to start with, okay, just to make sure it has something to stick to. Okay, and there we go, nice misty coat all round, again with our elevators here. Okay, and what you basically do is go off and do a proper coat on top of this, and you probably only need one actually, okay, maybe 1-2 coats. It's just a nice light bit of protection, okay, for the paintwork that you've just done, right? Because what we want to do is we want to protect it for when we start doing up all the masking and everything for our second stage of the camo, which is XF61, which another thing about camo work as well, what colour do you start with? It's always best to start with the lighter colour, okay, because when you put the darker colour on top, it makes it kind of more sharper and just makes everything look a bit more natural if you start with the lighter colour, okay. So in this case, you know, it's the brown, which is lighter than the green, so the green is like the second colour you put on and the brown is what you put on first, okay. So that's just a little note there. So I'm just going to carry on now, put in a little bit of a protection ready for our next stage, which you want to kind of leave this to dry for at least maybe an hour, maybe 2, before you start doing any masking for the green stage. Right, bit of a big kind of thing that's just happened off camera, okay. As I say, we did the FX52 for our earth, brown earth, okay. Basically I did a bit more research because I didn't quite like the colour. It was looking kind of brown with a bit of a kind of a red kind of sort of look to it as well. So gone off, looked around the website and everything, and the photos that I was looking at, which is what I was kind of matching this XF52 up, was of a Polish Spitfire, and not only is like the earth, the brown earth, looking a little kind of reddish in here, but the XF63, which is our dark green, was also looking quite dark green, and these colours seem to match up with that from what the pictures I saw on the internet, so I was quite happy to use them. But then looking at more pictures and what people have said, that it's not quite that colour really. It's more of a proper kind of brown, earthy looking brown. So what I basically went off and did is I kind of realised and forgot that I've actually done a Lancaster bomber with this camo pattern. So I went back and looked at what I used for that camo pattern. I liked the way it looked, okay, the way the pattern looked, the colour and everything. So what I decided was to kind of, you know, redo the paint job, okay, but in the colours that I've already used before and I know work well. So I basically went back and resprayed this, the Vallejo 71029 Dark Earth, okay, which not many people kind of mention to use this actual colour, but as you can see, it does give us a nice kind of dark earth brown looking kind of colour. This has got a gloss coat on top, so it's a bit darker, shall we say, but when we put our matte coat on at the end, it will lighten up and should look somewhere around about the ballpark of what it's supposed to be. I've also changed my mind, okay, with the green. I've decided to use XF81. Now the reason I've decided to use this is because Tamiya released the 1 in 32nd Spitfire, and with the 1 in 32nd Spitfire they decided to release 3 new sets of 3 new pots of paint, specifically the colours to actually match up with that 1 in 32nd scale Spitfire, and one of those colours is the XF81 dark green 2/RAF. okay, so basically it's supposed to be the upgrade from the XF61. So they did the XF61 and they decided to upgrade it and make the colour more matching by releasing this XF81. They also released 2 other colours, but that's for the more modern colours, where it's the green and the grey version. But for this one, I'm going for that. So hopefully I've got a better matching colour, and it looks good on my computer from what I can see from the pictures from my old Lancaster, so we should be all good. So sorry about the kind of the mix up and the change. Okay, so just remember, I don't think these are actually quite good matching colours, but these are somewhere in the ballpark. I did do some research, and people are saying that the Mr. Hobby colour seemed to be the best matching green and brown, but I don't actually have them. But just in case you want to look into that. So what we need to do now is we need to get some blue tack out, okay? We've got some here, and what we need to do is we need to start making our camo pattern. Oh, and by the way, I did respray it, re-bleach it, post shade it, okay? So what I like to do, okay, is get a bit of plastic card or anything just flat, okay? Just anything you can use as a flat rolling pin, okay? So that you can just get it into a bit of a sausage first, okay? And what we want to do is plain and simply roll up our blue tack without everything moving, okay? Bit tricky to start with because it's a little square, shall we say, but after a bit it will turn into a nice bit of a sausage, okay? Now some people just use their hands and just roll it up that way, but you know, I feel you get a nice, more even sausage of blue tack, shall I say. So what we could do is we've got this nice little sausage now, okay? What you want to do is they provide you with a nice little A4 sheet just showing you the actual camo pattern, okay? So I just want to double check this. Yeah, okay, so the lighter shade of grey is our brown, okay? So we want to leave the brown, shall we say, still showing. So orientating, shall we say, our piece of paper with our model itself and looking where we need to mask up. Okay, so we need a little piece, so let's get some scissors, okay, because we've got this little bit of green we need to do here, so we can cut this bit of sausage we got here, and we can basically, okay, orientate it and place it onto the model in a way where it references up with our little data sheet here showing us the camo, and we can kind of put our little squiggles and wiggles in here that give us that nice camo shape, okay, like so. And really, there you go, there's like your first bit of a camo bit. So what we can do is a bit of masking tape, okay, put that right across there. Oh, actually no, I've done that the wrong way around. So if you're probably thinking, what the hell is he doing? You're right, what the hell am I doing? This is supposed to be green, so we've got to leave that uncovered. Okay, so let's just reposition this, okay, because I did that just slightly wrong. There we go, we want to leave that part there to be spray green. So let's get the rest of this little pattern going on here sorted. So, you know, get it starting. I mean, look at panel lines and stuff that's on the model, that's on this A4 piece of paper, and just get the blue tack to kind of meet these panel lines where they kind of look like they meet and overlap and all this kind of stuff, to hopefully get the shape that we're looking like we're getting on this A4 piece of paper, okay? There we go, and we can cut that little bit of excess, okay, so we could save that for later. Right then, so it looks like we've got that nice bit there. Maybe that's a little bit more pointy, shall we say. So we can maybe just shape this a little bit. There we go. We're looking somewhere around about that, and we can kind of just maybe push down and maybe try and get the wiggly wavy pattern, just kind of play with it a bit. Okay, and I think we're looking somewhere good there. So then now you can kind of come in with your masking tape. I just need to cut this a little bit thinner. Then you can come in, as I say, with the masking tape, you know, and just start, you know, sealing this up. Okay, ready for all that nice spraying we're going to do. Now this is, shall I say, my pet hate of modelling, and that is going around rolling up all these sausages and masking this all in. Okay, but at the end of the day, I mean, it really does look nice in the end, as much as it is a pet hate. Okay, but it does look nice in the end. So there we go. We've basically come along, we've got rolled up some blue tack. Okay, we've stuck it down on the model, and then we've come along with our Tamiya masking tape, and we've just filled in the areas. Okay, and make sure you don't make the mistake I did. You know, make sure you're filling in, you know, the areas that need to be brown, so that you're leaving exposed the bits that you need to spray green. Okay, another little note about this, I mean, when we do remove this blue tack, it does leave a bit of a residue. Okay, so apparently coming along with white tack doesn't put that residue on, but really I won't worry about it too much, because what I like to do is plain and simply, once I've removed the blue tack, I like to come around and just give it a bit of a wipe down with a little cloth, give it a bit of a clean, and remove all this nasty tacky stuff that can be left behind. Okay, and then you're more good to sealing for decaling. Okay, so I need to go all the way around this now and get it all sorted and everything, and then we can look at getting our green down.